Hello everyone, this is Hachiri and we are back in FTB Interactions. Now, during the stream, we were getting several things built. We were getting things prepared for our automated polyethylene and vinyl chloride setup. Now, we finally got all the pieces together. This here is for air processing, centrifuging, etc. And it puts everything in the tanks as needed. And these four beautiful machines, these chemical reactors we have here, are going to be for the stuff. We'll just call it the stuff because I'm having a mental breakdown. So these four are going to be for that. So what we got going on here is I'm kind of, now that I'm really looking at my setup, I'm actually kind of thinking of changing things a little bit. I think I'm going to pop these two and I'm going to remove two of the pumps. And we're actually going to have some conduit going on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that conduit to be a different color code. It's going to push into these two. It's going to do round robin. That way the ethanol is evenly split between these two. I mean, I could have it to where it's just both going, but I don't know if it round robins it. So we're going to do that right now and just prepare for that and get this done and sorted, because we need this to be done right the first time. Alright, so we got those back in place. We are going to put these on the outside here. And we'll set both of these to import. And what we'll do is on the inside here, we will have the ender fluid conduit. And the insert is going to be red. There's going to be no extraction. Again, insert red, no extraction. And do I have a Yeta wrench? I thought I made one. Let's see if we have one over here in the tool chest. There's a crescent hammer in there. Alright, what about in here? I did make one. Haha, memory. Alright, so, we're going to kind of cut this off from the rest of the system. We don't want this to be part of the system. And we're going to kind of do this all across the board with the differing tanks and such. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a single tank up here for ethanol. And its export will be red. And it's going to have round robin enabled. And what that will do is it will pull and just handle all of that for us. Each of these others are, I believe, already set up. I know that one was. Let me make sure. Just for paranoia's sake. Yeah, those are import. Good. Each of these others are just going to be tanks. And we're going to use the Yeta wrench to apparently completely tear it out. We're just going to be removing this because Wow, I am batting 1,000 today, let me tell you. Like threading a needle. Of course. So taking these off of all these tanks is going to be a little time consuming, a little annoying, but hey, it needs to be done. We're just going to get these tanks in place. And what we're going to do after all of these tanks are in place is we're going to bind them to the various chemicals that's going to be required. And then we're going to go through and make it to where each of these auto export. We don't need insert, it just needs to export. And the reason being is we already have all the chemicals in place. So this can just go straight into the system, and we're going to turn off round robin on the export. So export does not round robin. It will go into the system and then it will be done. Now, one thing we may want to consider, and this is something I did not consider until just now, is we may want this, instead of going into the system, we may want this to be direct so that it stops when it's full. This is another one of those items that we don't want constantly, now that I think about it. Yeah, let's get rid of all of this. Let me turn my thing back on. Let's just get rid of all of this. And we will use a different system. We're going to set the export to be on the bottom. I don't have the wrench on me. Because this I do want to stop if it's full. Although there's byproducts, that's right. There's secondary byproducts for this though. Oh. So with that in mind, how do we want to proceed? Still gonna have to do it that way. Yeah, there's no way around it. We're still going to have to do it that way. And we're going to have to set up filters. Alright, so let's take a look at these. Let's take a look and see what our byproducts are. So ethylene creates sulfuric. Alright. And then if we take ethylene and combine with air, there's no byproduct. We're not going to combine it with air. We're going to do oxygen, but there's no byproduct for that. Let's take a look at the vinyl chloride. The vinyl chloride does have a byproduct, so that one will require. So this can be a single, since that's going to be the polyethylene. And vinyl chloride will have two. Vinyl chloride will have 2. And then looking at the chain, I believe polyvinylchloride also does not have a byproduct. It does not. Okay. Alright, so there we go. That's our setup. The hydrochloric acid, though, that one I will probably set up with an overflow, with a custom overflow. Or I'll set it to go through the system. I'll give it a higher priority for this. Yeah. I'll give no. We'll just push it through here, and we're gonna send it through there so it goes to the system. Hydrochloric acid's going in there. All right. So we got this set up. We're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 filters. Looking at this. Well, this one won't need a filter. That one won't need a filter. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 filters. And fortunately, we have this. We do have the filters. So we are lucky in this regard that we had some leftover from when we initially set this up. And that was a crash. Alrighty. That was definitely a crash. Mid-recording crash. There we go. So we will pause the recording for a little bit while we reload this, and we'll be right back. Alright, so this thing has been paused the entire time because it did not read my key bindings, which is great. And we finished this setup, but let's just go ahead and go over it real quick. Now this is building the ethylene. We have the sulfuric acid coming in one way, ethanol coming in the other. And we have filters set up for both of these to send them to the various places. The diluted sulfuric acid is getting sent into the mainline system, so if it ever overflows, it will just get trashed. It shouldn't overflow, but that's just a just-in-case measure. This system here, it has the ethanol coming in right here, or ethylene coming in right here and going round robin between the two systems. This system takes oxygen and the ethylene and makes polyethylene, sends it directly to the tank because we want this system to stop if that tank ever fills up. This system is set up similar to the ethylene system in that there is an overflow of hydrochloric acid that goes into the main line, so if it ever fills up, it gets trashed. The vinyl chloride is what's going to stop the system. And if the tank ever fills, this whole system will shut off. This here is chlorine, and it's pulling ethylene in and making vinyl chloride. This system is taking vinyl chloride and oxygen and making polyvinyl chloride. Again, it will stop if the tanks ever fill. There's no need for a filter or anything because it's not going into the system. It's just going direct. This system is taking diluted sulfuric acid from the top here, processing it into sulfuric acid, and putting it back into the tank over there. So that is the brief run of that setup. It is fully automated, fully self-contained. The main thing I will say is that this part right here is set to round robin, so that it evenly splits up the ethylene between the two. And then each of these have filters, and they're bound to their respective tanks. They're either going to go directly to the tank bypassing the trash, because I wanted to stop, or it goes into the main system, and if it's overflow, it will go into the trash can, so that doesn't prevent it from going. So that is basically that system, and what we're going to do on the next episode is we're going to get into oil processing, and we're going to get into making epoxy resin and diesel with empowered oil processing. Because if you go ahead and process oil all the way to empowered, using like mineral resin and whatnot, you get diesel directly, and sulfuric gas and naphtha. You don't even have to worry about having different tanks for them. It's just going to give you diesel immediately. And then we can take that diesel along with the biodiesel and combine that with the tetrachemical to make the cetane boosted, which is going to be what we're probably going to work on next, is getting that done. We've got a few machines to build to get into that, but we do have all of the technology needed. We have everything required for that. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking into getting into space and starting that. I already have the launch pads and frames built here. We got the launch pads here. We've got the framing here. We just got a couple of machines that we need to make to work on that. And then we'll be on our way as far as that is concerned. So I think for the rest of the stream, we'll work on finishing decorating this place up. I'm going to build about 2 or 3 more of those and get that done. And then we'll go ahead and make this look all pretty and start building the parts for the oil refinery over there. But with that, we will wrap this episode up, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a nice day. Goodbye.